There's one thing I see a lot of. I've been in sales for quite a long time, and a lot of various types of sales. And there's one common thread I see with some really potentially good people that tend to have those infrequent moves. It's a lot to do with self-destruction, and it's a very sensitive topic for a lot of people, but it's also a much more commonplace thing than people realize. People, have something going really well, and all of a sudden they just blow it. And it's for things that are well into their own control, and they know it, and they hate themselves for it, but can't seem to break that cycle. If this is you, you've definitely come to the right place, because it's something that I've seen, but it's also something I've really been able to be fortunate enough to help people through. It's really a two-pronged approach. When you look at a sickness, right, and not to say this is an illness, but you've got to treat the symptoms, but you've also got to treat the cause of the illness. And I think that's what people really don't do. And that's why it's so hard to really break that cycle of self-destruction. So the first thing you have to understand is, if you're the type of person that things are really going well for you, and then all of a sudden you start making stupid decisions that it feels like you have no control over, but you just put yourself in those same situations over and over. It's because you feel the need to self-destruct. So let's delve into the probability of what causes that. We are very, very susceptible to the things that happen to us from the ages of sort of 0 to 6. It's really, that's where most of our programming happens. What you find is that people develop this idea that they don't deserve to be happy. For some reason, maybe let's say they're the brother or sister that's not as good as the other, big brother or sister. They're in the shadow. Or, the parents have such high, strict standards that they never feel like they're ever going to meet those standards. Or they're the type of parents that don't show love. They're very cold, very distant parents that create this sense of conditional love, or worse, no love at all. And what you find is when people are used to having to chase for adulation and love and respect, or they're just programmed to feel inherently deep down in your core subconscious that you aren't good enough and that you don't deserve to be happy, what happens? Well, when things start going well, how does it feel? Uncomfortable, right? You get this niggling little alarm in the back of your head that goes, hey, you're doing really well, something's wrong. You don't deserve this. That's, if you really track the thought, it's you don't deserve this, something's wrong. You need to fix this. And without even realizing, subconsciously, that's when you sort of trigger that explosion, where you blow it all up. But that's when you'll start making those stupid decisions. Once things start going well, you'll feel uncomfortable and you'll feel compelled to go have a big night, or what's one drink, or what's one line if you're so inclined, whatever the thing is. Or let me text that person, that ex, that destructive, toxic person in my life, or that friend that I know I shouldn't be around. You get those destructive needs without realizing why. And the temptation is so hard to resist because you've got to look at the core problem. So the first thing you need to do is identify that it's happening because deep down somewhere, you feel like you're not good enough. You feel like you don't deserve to be happy. And I don't think that could be farther from the truth. Everyone deserves to be happy. There's so many good books and resources on how to actually learn how to love yourself. One of them is just affirmations. It's really actually just getting yourself in the process of either verbally or writing down, I like myself. I deserve to be happy. And writing it, almost like you have to write lines as a kid in school, or saying it out loud in the car. You'd be amazed at what that can do to program your subconscious. But if you want to look more into that, there's a lot of literature on that. The other side about learning how to get rid of self-destruction, it's not enough to just have the bomb. That's the latent bomb. There's also a detonator. Every bomb has a detonator that you have to hit. You've got like Wile E. Coyote with the big TNT. It's fine. Every bomb has a detonator, and you need to know when you self-destruct, there's always a detonator. Whether it is that toxic ex or toxic friend, or if it's a drug problem, if you don't really do drugs until things start going well, and all of a sudden you're on a cocaine bender and it ruins your life because you start making immoral and poorly thought through impulsive decisions. Or it's alcohol, where you get blackout drunk and you end up in someone else's room that you've never met and ruin everything that you've got going for yourself. Or if you've got, these are just, random things, but they're really relatable to a lot of people that can self-destruct. You need to know what the detonator is and keep yourself out of situations when you know that detonator's there. You see that, and you almost got the angel and the devil, and you go, no, not today, Satan.
Oh.
And understand that it's really about stopping yourself from being near that detonator. Because when you get, that feeling, that overwhelming feeling of something's wrong, and you get those impulsive natures about yourself, it's very easy to press a button when it's nearby. So staying away from those people because you know they're that temptation, or staying away from those situations when you feel the need to self-destruct, what you're going to do is ride out that impulse. And once you ride out that impulse to self-destruct and you get good at having discipline not to self-destruct or touch those detonators, you're going to find that, even if you haven't addressed the first need of actually addressing your own, deservedness for happiness, you're going to be able to ride out the peak of that impulse, so at least it's not going to be so bad that it overwhelms you. If you're really struggling with self-destruction, there's a two-pronged approach. Number one, realize why it's happening and really put the work in to fix that, because you do deserve to be happy. Everybody does. You're a good person, regardless of what you think of yourself. And number two is, if you know what your detonators are, then you know how to avoid them. Best of luck with everything, guys. Happy hunting.